Hello and welcome to another eventful episode of Anfield. Wait, what are we? Star Stripes and Anfield Nights. It's been such a day with everything going on with releasing of the VAR audio and just reliving the nightmare that was Saturday. Sorry, a little flustered to begin the episode here, but this is Star Stripes and Anfield Nights. My name is Rigo, your host, and on today's panel we have Dan, Colin, as well as Brandon. I'll go clockwise here on the check-in. Dan, how you doing, sir?
Listen, no worries, man. Process is all good. Check. What is it Simon Hooper said? I gotta look it up real quick. That's what I'm having. All right, here we go. Well done, boys. Good process. I'm getting that tattooed on me when I die. I'm like, well done, boys. Good process. It's all good. We're all good, guys. No, I'm doing good, Rigo. I'm doing good myself. You know, just I was listening to the VAR audio on my way home from work for probably like 45 minutes and like just trying to piece it all together. But you know, I'm just vibing, enjoying life.
Good, man. Keep that positive outlook. Definitely have to. Brandon, how are we doing over there?
I'm doing good. I got in about 5 minutes ago, so I barely got time to take my pants off. So I'm ready to go.
Well, it makes me think of the Blink 182 album, "Take Off Your Pants and Jacket." Colin, how's it going over there in Pittsburgh?
It was a lovely day. Lots of work done. Very busy day, but happy and also annoyed to be talking about some of these topics.
That's the most German answer I've heard in my life. Very good work. Good arbeiten today.
Truly.
But now I'm angry about procedures.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
I'm sorry, Colin.
Procedures. I mean, honestly, fair. Very true.
Speaking of procedures, absolute failure occurred on Saturday, where apparently the VAR official forgot how to do his job, as well as the assistant VAR official, and it took the replay technician to kind of point out their grave error. And of course, we're talking about the decision to call offside Luis Diaz's goal that would have put Liverpool up ahead 1-0 in their match against the Spurs on Saturday. All right, we asked for the audio. The audio has been released. It feels as if it's worse than what we anticipated in many ways. I'll go reverse order now. Colin, what'd you think of the audio drop there? And yeah, what'd you feel about it?
It's exactly as bad as you would think it would be. Just like there are many and multiple points in which they could have stopped and been like, hey, okay, even after play has gone for a little bit, still could have stopped. And at every chance that they gave to stop, they just decided not to. And we can litigate all day about why and the potential the potential situations that could have led to them making such a poor decision. But like it just is exactly as poor as you would think that it would have been, which is, it's not good to give fire to give fuel rather to the fires of conspiracy, especially with the refereeing situation. Like I don't like to be the tin hat guy. But this makes it seem like everything that they've said about the referees, like, probably is true. Sucks.
Yeah, so Darren England apparently not recovered from his trip to United Arab Emirates to complete his moonlighting gig refereeing there. Apparently asleep at the wheel at the VAR station. Brandon, any excuse? Like, can you think of any excuse, any plausible reason why he wouldn't be once he starts hearing from everyone else in the booth there? Hold on. Why he wouldn't just radio to the referee to hold up play and not put the ball in play? It seemed like they were so quick to rule it incorrectly and get the ball back in play as opposed to getting the call right.
Yeah, well, I guess the rule is once the play restarts, you can't go back. But I don't see why, when it's this egregious of an error, you can't say, no, we can stop play for this. It's not like Spurs went down and immediately scored a goal on the restart. Like nothing changed in the game. What it went down, came back, went out of play. You could say, "Oh no, we screwed this up." I mean, what's going to happen? Spurs are going to complain that a valid goal was allowed to be scored. Like, there's no reason why you can't just say, "Yeah, we're stopping play for this. We screwed up here." And like I thought, maybe like with it being tired, like you can maybe give him a little bit of slack, but you hear the linesman saying, flagging for offside, bringing back for offside.
Mhm.
Like he's just not listening. He's not listening. He's not doing his job. And I think about how I do my job. I mean, I'm okay at my job, I think, but every time somebody asks me to do something, I reiterate what I'm doing to them, to my boss or to whoever. I'm like, okay, I'm doing this correctly, and they say, yeah, that's what we're doing. So we're on the same page. Like we have like the new changes they're coming out. I'm like, why weren't those already in place? Why aren't they iterating together what they're doing? It doesn't make any sense. It doesn't make any sense like how this league, with all the money they have, is this poor at this consistently. Because it's not just Liverpool. I don't want to say it's all, always against Liverpool. We've had some shitty decisions this year, but like this is happening frequently in a league where this should be like the last league where it should happen. They constantly tout this is the best league in the world. This is the best league in the world. But yeah, we have the worst officiating in the world. I said it, I think in the group chat, I would take MLS officials because I know they're going to be inconsistent because they don't know the game as well. Whereas I feel like in England, they almost feel like they know the game way too much and they're better than you because they're the officials. Where it's like you don't even know what the hell's going on half the time. So it's an absolute joke. I mean, how can you not just say, "Oh, we screwed this one up. Let's stop this play. We can stop this play." Like even if it gets Darren England fired because they're not allowed to do that, I'd rather go out righting a wrong than just dying on a sort of where, yeah, I'm a big screw up. That's what I'm going to be remembered as, is a big screw up. So,
and to add more insult to injury, it's as if they realized the screw up and immediately communicated to Sky Sports, don't show the replay, don't show the lines, because the lines were not lines, but the line was drawn showing where Romero's foot was, and you could obviously see Luis Diaz was half a meter, before then, so he was definitely onside. But my thought on that, it was straight up, in a way, conspiracy and CYAing and on a lot of parts, from the VAR booth to the referee to Sky Sports. What do you think about that, then? Do you think they were in cahoots and trying to cover this up?
I don't know if Sky Sports would. I don't know if the people on Sky Sports knew what's happening. Now, I think the production room was looking for it, or like with the feed, as in the live feed. But for whatever reason, they did not send that image. VAR did not, or they sent that screenshot over, and they were probably saying, like, "Don't put this out there. We need to put out a statement." And for those people who work in media, I like you get an idea that it can be very dictatorial in a sense. So when someone says you're not doing this, and you just don't do it as well, I think it's interesting because I went back and listened to it again, like I said, like 35 minutes over and over and over again. All that hit my brain was like, one, Darren England makes the mistake because he says check complete, not goal given. He just says check complete. He does not know what the rule. He completely forgot blank, and that's when Simon Hooper says, great, good job, boys, great process. He's cheering them on, and then they go on, and the first thing he says, literally, he's saying good job. The operator's like, wait, it's offside. Like the operator who did the lines, the technical guy, is saying, no, are you okay with this image?
Mm-hmm.
It's onside. Like he's checking with him. He's not saying I think this is onside. It's like, you're the VAR official. This is onside, right? You're okay with this image. He's like, it's like, we need to stop play. Ollie, we need to stop play. Ollie in this case I thought was Michael Oliver, but it's actually the head of the VAR guy. If you remember the game, do you remember when Simon Whistle looked like he was shell shocked and he's about to blow his whistle to stop the game, and then just whistles and goes on?
Mm-hmm.
That's exactly the moment where the guy is saying Ollie, Darren England is saying Ollie, and Michael Oliver comes on. It's like, yeah, what's up? He's like, no, Ollie said we have to delay the game. He's looked like he's about to blow the whistle, delay the game, and then just does it. And he's like, no, I can't do anything. Check complete. We're moving on. I think that someone in the PGMOL did phone up Sky Sports, probably was Howard Webb, and said, hey, don't show this. Don't slag them off during the game. We're going to deal with this eternally. And I know we're talking about Darren England. Darren England got thrown under the bus, I think, because you can see right here, the problem wasn't VAR. And even still, it wasn't just Darren England and Daniel Cook. Like, the two people who were the technical guys knew what was going on, and like, we need to correct this decision. and the referees are saying, "Oh no, there's nothing we can do. There's nothing we do. It's protocol. We can't do anything. Like it's already gone." And someone posted like, "Oh, you can't restart a game after a restart." I'm like, BS. They do it all the time. Like literally, they'll say, "Oh, you took the free kick too quickly. Go back and do it again." Or no, you're gonna wait. I need to go talk, have a chat with this guy. Like the referee can go back and restart. It's very much a thing where it's letter of the law versus spirit of the law. We have these talks all the time with stuff like handballs, onside, and fouls. Even with the red card with Curtis Jones, is it a red? Is it orange? Is it a yellow? I think all three are valid interpretations. Even though if we can argue about the VAR
because that was at least subjective, that one.
Yeah, exactly. But this is very much, and this is why I love the statement from Liverpool. And I feel like a lot of the voting from fans that this is not an issue with an subjective thing. This is a breakdown of protocol and communication, and you can see the look on Simon Hooper's face. He's like, "I've been had out here. I'm done," and he completely loses control of the game. Up to that point, the game was like even though that was contentious, the game was fine. But he loses complete control of the game after that because he starts dishing out yellow cards left and right. And that second half, when they said that he was told in the second half he got it wrong, I don't believe that for 1 second. You can see it on his face, and because Michael Oliver chimes in, that feed is live in the referee's ear. They know exactly what happened, and they choose not to do anything. And that is insane. That is absolutely insane. The fact that no one steps up and says, like, we need to correct this decision now. And, we can talk about culture and how it links to Spy Sports and everything else, but I honestly think that it just shows the absolute failing of the refereeing game in England because it's like they're so focused on protocol, they're not reffing the game. It's like we're so focused on like following the protocol that we don't actually ref the game in front of us.
But it's so inconsistent what they follow because even in the Spurs match, we're supposedly this year you're supposed to get a yellow card if you're asking for a yellow, and there were numerous instances there where 5 minutes in, Richarlison was asking for a yellow, and then we obviously saw Udogie ask for a yellow as well. Well, he was on a yellow and consequently should have been tossed from the match. So it's not just the following protocol, but the inconsistent following of the protocol.
Yeah, every international break, they decide not to follow protocol. It's like if you notice before the international break, they were doing all this. After your match break, they stopped doing it. So they make these changes. They said they were going to force something. They stopped doing it, but they don't tell anybody. So, like, what's the point of making a big deal of, like, we're going to crack down on dissent and flashing yellow cards? It's insane. I didn't mean to cut you off there, Rigo.
No worries at all. Colin, I'll go to Colin. Do you think, and I know we might be a little bit biased here being Liverpool fans, obviously, but kind of the data kind of supports what we see as fans that Liverpool tend to get judged more harshly. We do not get the benefit. Even in double yellow card situations, we get that second yellow on a much more consistent basis than those who oppose us. The last player who got a double yellow and got sent off was Sadio Mane when he was playing for Southampton. So my question to you, Colin, do you think there's actual bias from the PGMOL towards Liverpool in any way?
I don't think that it is bias from necessarily from an organizational standpoint, but I definitely do think that the individual referees, as much as we can kind of forget this sometimes, like they're human beings, right? And if someone is consistently berating you when you're doing your job over several or many years, like you're not going to like them. That's just a fact. Like there's not really a way, I don't think, to like necessarily separate all of that. So, and I think that stat came out, and I saw people on Twitter, I think yesterday, talking about how, Liverpool had, the most amount of VAR rulings in our favor last year, and how they were touting that as like a,
like it's a positive for us when it's actually
right. As that, as that would be, if that would be something that is like, you guys should be happy. It's ruled in your favor. Well, actually, what that's saying is that the actual on-field referees were wrong for our games more than any other team, proved wrong by the fourth and the VAR referee. like that just proves the point, I think, to me. And that's what really solidifies it in my mind, which is, those are human beings. And I think there is something to be said for, like, if you continue to, and now I think you need to fight for justice. You need to fight for, like, what is right in the situation. But if you are continually, like, yelling at someone, I would not expect the benefit of the doubt from that individual going forward.
But is it actually yelling, like, Brandon, to kind of feed off Colin's point? Do you think we're Klopp or even the assistant coaches, our own players, go after the officials harder than any other team? Because sideline action, I see Pep always barking at the officials during matches, and I don't see anywhere near close to the same level of vitriol that I kind of see from officials towards our Liverpool players and coaches.
I think, like, the big difference is definitely the Tierney situation. That's the big difference, is that Klopp really went after one individual extremely, like, this guy is out to get us almost. No matter what, if you're a referee in the room, it is kind of a brotherhood. So you got to have each other's back. As stupid as that is in a sport, when you're supposed to just be an objective official, you just got to, call the game as the game. I think that's the big difference. Like, Pep will go after people in press conferences. He's usually not as blunt as Klopp was about it last year. I think Jamie Hughes kind of put it out there in the chat. I think he's kind of right. If there is a conspiracy, it has to do with the Tierney stuff from last year. It's just them saying, hey, we're going to call a few calls that shouldn't go this way. Like, I mean, I'm not going to say the McAllister one was one to get back, but my God, how you could ever consider that a red card is just beyond me. And we actually had that overturned. The Jones one is much more subjective. Like, if you're the first thing you see is his foot stamping on somebody's ankle, you might think it's a red card. That's all. Also, the VAR process from this last game was a disaster. Like, for him to come over and the first thing he sees is that still image. Yeah, I mean, if I saw that first, I'm like, yeah, that's a horrible challenge. But then you watch in real time, like, it's just a little slip. That's not a red card. So I think the conspiracies, I never want to get on the conspiracy, but I mean, I think it's just trying to needle us a little bit, like say, hey, you can't go after our officials that way.
Yeah, I feel like we're on a much tighter leash then. And again, obviously we watch Liverpool more than any other club,
right?
But I do feel we're on a much tighter leash than other clubs when it comes to interactions with the referee. Because when Virgil got suspended, got additional punishment for cursing at the ref. The following weekend, you had Jordan Pickford cursing the hell out of the ref as well, and nothing came from that either. So,
didn't Reece James get an extra game from Chelsea? I mean, I might want to point out a couple things that Virgil and Reece have in common. That
Reece wasn't even playing, but he approached the officials. He approached the officials in the tunnel.
Yeah, I think that might be a deeper seated issue over in England. America's also kind of got.
Yeah, I mean, you're not wrong about that. Pep did get a touchline ban though for a yellow card accumulation already this season, didn't he?
Yep. Over the weekend, they lost.
Yeah. I mean, so that in a way that is like, that's kind of the same thing as well, which is to say that like because he's really aggressive with the referees as well. And so, as I think probably the three biggest offenders over the past couple of years are Pep, Arteta, and Jurgen. And I think they've almost been dealt with in different ways. Like Pep gets the ban, Jurgen gets a ban and a fine, but Jurgen, it wasn't just on the field, it was in the press conference too. I don't think it's only, but I think we're very sensitive. Like we see it happen to all because we pay so close attention.
So I think I want to start I agree with everything you guys have said. I kind of want to start more abstract in a more broader sense. As someone who's like a teacher in education, I see I referee myself, so I know the kind of mentality. There's a larger culture mentality with referees in England, where it's like we expect respect, we don't earn respect, or rather we demand. We demand to be respected no matter what, that our decisions are invaluable. It's a very Tory mindset. It's a very conservative mindset. You should just respect authority because they're authorities, not like that they're actual human beings. So So yeah, it's that hubris. So from that mindset, every referee, it doesn't matter if, like, I think right now you have this new crop of referees who are in their 30s, so they're like old millennials or young Gen Xers. In many ways, these are guys that came up when like the Premier League started, like in the 92. They grew up watching like the United and like the Spice Boys and all this stuff as well. They would be about 7 to 8 years older than me, for the most part. So you have to start from the fact that they're approaching this from a mentality. It's like, I demand to be respected and my decisions are invaluable, which is just the wrong mindset to approach from. And this has been brought in with Howard Webb as well. So we've lost that kind of humanistic connection that we had back in Howard Webb days, and even Mark Clattenburg, where, yeah, the decisions were very consistent as well. On top of that, I think we have a situation where they're now hyper-reactive as a group, that they feel under attack by both the media, the press, and the clubs. So they are reacting like a group that is under attack. So they're being needly. Exactly. They're assaulting players in the face for no reason. He's not even touching him, and he just comes and does as well. Like Brandon mentioned, the needle. Paul Tierney, after being called out by Klopp saying, "You're the one referee I don't like because I feel like you have something against us," he has reffed Liverpool more time than any other team since that time.
He's on for this weekend.
He's on for this weekend. That tells me
just
everything.
Like spitting in our face. Like we asked for this review, and then you know what?
Exactly.
You want a review? You
exactly.
got Paul Tierney this weekend too. How about
this
that?
Is a lottery. I thought it was Anthony Taylor, but you might be right. It might be.
Oh, Anthony Taylor. Yeah, I'm so sorry. Yeah, it is Anthony.
No, it's okay.
Another one that's
we're about to freak out there. So that's needle. That's someone making a decision. Oh, we're just going to give you the guy you don't like because screw you, because you're questioning our decisions. So that tells me that you have this institution, this union that has decided to paint itself as this culture of that we're in this together. We come in here, no one questions us. We hold each other accountable. Mike Dean literally said on Sky Sports, "I'm not going to make my other guy look like a twat." It's like, no, that's not your job. Your job is to correct his decisions, not like make it like not worry about what his feelings are. So as we break that down and we get to Liverpool, Anfield's a thing. Liverpool's a thing. This is one of the biggest teams in England, next to like United. Like if you want to make billions of dollars on TV, you show one game. That's United versus Liverpool. It's not Real Madrid versus Barcelona. It's Liverpool versus Manchester United. That's the game you show. So now you have a situation where you have someone with this mindset of I expect respect. You respond to criticism with hostility and needle and just a blatant sense of like petulism. And now you get to a point to where even if you're not consciously making those decisions, everything you're doing maybe subconsciously looks like you're challenging the Liverpool criticism of the narrative. Again, the idea of like Anfield being a thing and Liverpool being this historical institution. And so that comes down to the fact that we can get rid of all the referees, but you're not going to change the culture until it's actually into this more people brought in who are specialists, and you get the referees out of the VAR room. And you say to the referees, no, you're going to be accountable. Everything you do is going to be live and public, like in rugby union. You're going to have to respond to your questions. You're going to have to defend yourself. And you can say, I made a mistake, and we'll be okay with it. But what we can't have is the PGMOL saying, oh, it was human error, which we can see in that human error. Yeah, it's human error. But guess what? There were 3 or 4 people that say, we need to correct this, and they're ignored. That tells me it's a culture thing way more than it is just a Liverpool thing itself. And again, this comes back to the fans online. They're missing the point. This isn't a Liverpool versus ref. This is the ref refereeing the game, and they're approaching it in a certain way. Marco Silva's complaining about it. Thomas Frank's complaining about it. Pep Guardiola's doing a time about it. This is a issue with the game as it's being refereed in its current state. Sorry, I kind of went on there for a while, but I feel like I want to talk as much as possible.
And I kind of want to build on that as well. As we've seen the past couple of days, initially on Saturday, everyone was in unison saying that we were robbed, that we absolutely got the short end of the stick, and everyone was saying conspiracy, inadequacy, incompetence, etc. Everyone was on our side. Even Gary Neville was on our side. Mm-hmm. Sunday comes and the story seems to change. Instead of it being, look at this profound screw up in VAR, in refereeing, before we even get to VAR, the call on the field just absolutely atrocious. Like you couldn't be more on side. and the sideline ref was right there to be able to see it. He was right in the perfect position. So for him not to catch that, that's already one demerit on his skills. That it had to go to VAR, which all goes go to VAR for review, which is absolutely natural. It should have just been for the confirmation as opposed to trying to change the ruling on the pitch from offside to onside. So off the bat, there we're already wrong. But on Sunday, it seems everyone got their notes from PGMOL, from the Premier League, from Sky Sports, etc., that to change the narrative from it being the refereeing is absolutely atrocious and things, they screwed up profoundly, to Liverpool is, again, and we've seen it in the comments here as well, they're acting the victim. They're looking either for a handout, either a draw or a replay, etc., when that's absolutely nothing that Liverpool as a club has asked for. We asked for a deep review of what occurred in the situation, a review of the processes that allowed this failure to occur, and then after that, what can be done to prevent this from happening in the future, which is a benefit to every single team that plays in the Premier League. And to have the level of vitriol that I've seen on Twitter, I refuse to call it X, on Twitter, and in all the commentary that you see posted as well in video clips, they're deflecting from that and focusing more on, again, that Liverpool's crying the victim as opposed to these guys absolutely suck. And every single weekend, there's an atrocious decision that can affect a club in profound ways. Clubs can get sent down by, obviously by relegation. It's not, we're Star Stripes and Anfield Nights. It's not American sports where you stay in the league forever. You can get relegated. These things have consequences. All these teams have a sports bettor for the most part on their kits. A lot of money failed to exchange hands properly due to the decision by these refs. So my end point here is I don't understand why we aren't all, as fans of this beautiful sport, in unison to try to get these calls correct. And do you think, again, and I don't want to say we're playing the victim, but it does feel like we are being targeted by the media for just being Liverpool as opposed to any other club. They're telling us to shut up and go home. I'll leave that open to anybody. Jump in.
The attitude.
Brandon,
go ahead.
I was saying, I want to hear Brandon first because I kind of went out there and I didn't let him get a little bit in. But Brandon, I want to hear what you had to say first.
I thought Colin had a good was starting, so I'll go ahead and let Colin go.
My point about the referees, or the thing that I see a parallel in with the referees, and I thought, Dan, you said it incredibly eloquently and broke it down very well. But it reminds me of police unions here in the United States.
Oh, absolutely.
I was going to jump in with that too.
It's so Tory. It's so conservative.
It really does. It really reminds me of the attitude that I hear from a lot of people who are deeply police union families. Yeah, absolutely. Which is like that they can do no wrong, and we do not need other supervision. We don't need. There was a long fight for body cameras on police, and for the most part, across the United States, that has won out. That they have to wear them and they have to be on and they have to. We can go further.
Yeah,
than that,
let's not go too crazy.
We can go into that.
10 years.
There's some level of accountability, some level of having to actually document what that person's doing with, if they stop somebody, etc.
Exactly.
Because there's been so many instances.
Yeah. And to your point, which is like, I cannot wrap my head around why a larger portion of people do not have a deep desire to see things be more fair and to be more, even just to be more open. And just to have more maybe it shatters like whatever their worldview is, and maybe that's not what the word actually is not maybe the word how they want to see it, or football maybe is not how they would want to see it, so they don't want it to be that way. Maybe that's the case, but it blows my mind.
It's like they're being forced to modernize with VAR, with other technologies that'll help improve the game and remove some of that possible human error for it, but And again, with the decision to stick with VAR rulings as opposed to an automated system for offside, if we had the system in place that they used in the World Cup and other leagues, Serie A, a much poorer league than the Premier League is currently using, this would have been a non-issue. They would have, oh, go, boom, done. No thinking involved, no pride, and definitely not prejudice on the officials' part when it comes to handing out a ruling. So it's they have one foot in the future and one foot still in the past, trying to keep up this good old boys network. And
So
apparently,
arrogant.
all referees
So
are from the Manchester area.
Yeah.
Where's a referee from the north? I don't see any black referees in the Premier League. There's zero type of any inclusivity within there, and it just seems like you said, Colin, it's like in the police union or the police, they close ranks and protect each other as opposed to trying to get those bad actors, or in this case, bad officials, out.
So, Rigo, it's interesting you mentioned black officials. Brandon, I'll let you go after me because I don't want to take your time, man. Because if you look back at old images of the Premier League, it was a way more diverse referee club than it is now. Like black linesmen, black officials. There's no black head referee. It's absolutely ridiculous. Like you have minority groups that have been systemically etched out of the refereeing tree in England. I'm not saying this would have made it better, but it's obvious that they're all the same type of person. They're all from Greater Manchester. Except for a couple, and they don't referee our games because we might actually get a decision that might be slightly beneficial. They're all fat men in their 30s to the 40s, except for Michael Oliver. He's the one in shape. They all have haircuts to make them look like cops. They all act like cops too, but like in the worst possible way. Yeah, exactly. It's absolutely insane. It's. I think it's interesting about what you both mentioned. And I think there is, I know you mentioned the police unions and everything else. I do think that one of the issues has to do with the fact that the cultural perception of Liverpool is still, it's absolutely dictated by Hillsborough, Heysel, and the thing I won't mention that reported on that people still have the mentality. Simon Jordan literally called Liverpool victims. Use that, that microaggression keyword. People have been using that, always the victim, use like tragedy chanting, because that's it. The anti-Liverpool thing is absolutely coming out because Liverpool, in their audacity, demanded change. Like, we're not okay at this, we demand change. And the instant you threaten change to a system, everyone's like, whoa, what about my things? Are you saying I should get my thing back? It's like, yeah, bro, let's go do that. I don't care. We'll go play the 2019 Champions League again. We'll win it all over again. I don't care. We'll do a replay of all the games. I don't care. People do this as strawman counterfactuals to kind of like dismiss change, because it's like systemic change. If you get it changed, it shows people how you can actually do it. And it causes an existential meltdown because it's like, we could have just changed it this whole time. We didn't have to put up with it. It's like, yeah, you could have just done that, and you just chose not to because for your club didn't have the power, or et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. But like Liverpool being the power that it is pushing for this change, and hopefully we get it. I don't think it'll change anything long term, except maybe make it like half a percentile a little bit better.
So, where do you think we go from here? So obviously we've seen the video. What options does Liverpool have at this point? Will they seek any further options? Because again, I doubt very much we'll be awarded a goal, a replay, etc. And again, I don't believe they're even asking for any of that. Where do we go from here? I'll go over to you, Brandon. I haven't heard you talk too much.
Before I go, Jamie was asked, yeah, that is Springsteen in the background on the poster. And then I've also just watched The Wire, so a lot of this cop talk is like so on point. It's ridiculous.
You just watched The Wire?
I got around to it.
Congratulations.
Yeah.
Listen, I have not watched The Wire or The Godfather yet, so I'm still gonna catch up on my classic TV and movies. I know. Listen, I know.
Yeah. Where we go, I don't really know. I mean, I'm just thinking of like Gary Neville saying like the apology should be enough. I'm like, what apology actually has came out? I don't think they've actually apologized. They just said, "Oh, yeah."
Apology.
It was like, I'm like, it's basically like, "Hey, we screwed up. Deal with it." That's what's been said. It's like, we've screwed up. Now deal with it. That's completely different than say, "Hey, we screwed up. We're really sorry about that. We're going to work to get this better." There's no been apology, and Goldbridge, even though he's a Man United fan, like calling him the prime minister of football, as I think is pretty much spot on for how much of a doofus Gary Neville actually is. I think what we were saying about, they woke up and all of a sudden, hey, we've got to damage control. You can't be talking about our refs this way. Like, money change pockets, make sure Gary Neville flip-flops like he usually does. Where we go from here, I mean, what else can we really do? I mean, we can just continue to just drive home the point of we've got to fix this. But until there's really somebody in the room that's not an English official who grew up around or came in with these guys, they get somebody from outside of it to come in and to say, hey, you guys suck at your jobs. You guys suck at your jobs. And I'm going to tell you suck every single time you screw up. And if you don't like it, there's the freaking door. So, I mean, really, that's what it's going to take is somebody come in to completely change how it's done. And hey, we're not a good old boy society. We're here to do our jobs. We're not here to just, pal around and screw over Liverpool or screw over Brighton or screw over whoever next just because we don't know how rules work. It's going to have to do something. They're going to have to do something completely different that they're not going to do. I mean, as much as we want to pressure them or fans pressure them, all of this is the other stuff is just tribalism and banter. You got to get that banter on Twitter because it's the best thing ever. And now that they're getting paid out for rage tweets, of course that's why everybody's
your interactions, right?
Everybody called dollar signs. That's where they came from. Yeah.
So
right,
I actually have a suggestion. I think this is how you fix the problem. You do what you do with the police unions. You defund them. You take power away from the PGMOL. You bring in independent regulators. You put independent people in charge of VAR because the tech people realize that there a mistake been made. You get the good old boys out of situations and you hold them to account. You drag them in front of the cameras. You drag them in front and say, "This is all public now. You need to defend your actions." And they need to. I don't want to say they need to suck it up. They need to understand you can't just make a decision, go hide in a corner. You are accountable to the league, and you can tell them, I made a mistake. It happens. We literally saw this with the rugby union as well. And the way we make this better is that referees stop trying to think of themselves as if they're prime magistrates of football, the law, Moses on high, bringing the tablets of football down, and instead see themselves as arbitrators, that they're just guys going and refereeing a game. And no matter what that game is, and that they have relationships with the players, relationships with the managers, and they actually act like human beings rather than fired headmasters who can't get a job, who have a power power dynamic issue. That's how you do it. You get power away from the PGMOL, and you bring in other people around whose job it is to limit the amount of authority they have beyond refereeing a game. And if we can do that, then I think you hold them to account. You make them weaker. They actually have to do their job more.
So yeah, I'm with you, Dan. The only way to actually have them care about their decisions and have them care about how they comport themselves on the pitch is by having to answer, after the match, a couple of questions in a press conference, or just a quick little shot with a reporter at the end. And I believe they do that in Germany currently, where after a match, there is a review with the official. I don't hear too many cries from the German league as far as atrocious calls. I recall a few times, I believe with Bayer Leverkusen, where they got called for a penalty twice, and twice it got reneged because they went to the VAR, checked it, and chalked it off. The comparison I can see, at least from an American point of view, is with these refs is an umpire in baseball. The worst thing you can have at a baseball game is an umpire who thinks the fans are there to watch him. And that's what I feel sometimes is the attitude that some of these referees have during the match. They think they're part of the show. The best refs are the ones you do not notice whatsoever during the match. Things are flowing, calls are being made correctly, or if they're not, you see it kind of level out during the match. But yeah, these guys, it seems like they want to be the star of the show. You can't go up to them to talk about anything because they're immediately pissed off. And, they want respect, but I don't feel they supply the players with that same level of respect either, or the coaching staff. So, yeah, something needs to happen. And again, it has to be Liverpool to take the first step. With the 5 subs, Klopp, again, asking, we need more. We need to be able to switch our players a little bit more. with way too many matches are ongoing. These players are going to burn out. No. You're crying. Liverpool won it because they're a deeper team. Pandemic happens. Five subs are brought in. Everyone loves it, and it's here to stay. And now the focus, obviously, on the match congestion. And now other managers are hopping on board with Klopp. So it seems as if we're always on the forefront because we're the first ones either to notice the issue or get screwed by it. And then everyone seems to fall in line after, of course, all the tribalism, et cetera, et cetera. Once they see it does benefit football as a whole, then they fall in line with us. So, right, I think it's going to follow suit much in the same way now with this. But not sure if we want to switch off from the angry and disappointed and absolutely atrocious match on the weekend where we could have gone into first place at the end of September. Go ahead, Brandon, before we wrap up.
And I'm not sure how to say your name. Sorry. Antoango in the chat, it's like apologies lose meaning. I think that's also like a key to like a lot of these people's like, well, even if they apologize for it, I think they've been talking in the chat. There's been like 17 PGMOL apologies so far. Like, at what point is it like apologies just aren't enough? Like, if your girlfriend or whoever cheats on you 17 times, at what point you say, hey, I'm not going to do it again before you realize they're just going to continue to do this and they're going to continue to screw you over, kind of literally in that point. But
it's like one of the earliest things that I was taught as a child was like, do not apologize if there's not going to be action in changing, and change. Like, an apology does not mean anything unless you are going to do something about it.
Yeah, apologies and accountability are not the same thing. And one of the things I've always said, especially as a coach or as a teacher, is that like, I don't want you to apologize, just correct the behavior. Just do this again, just do it again, do better, do this again. That's always what I suggest as well. And I think that's why the Liverpool were kind of like, hey, we're not going to just, and again, it wasn't an apology, so let's just get that off the door as well. Yeah. Like that they decided as well.
Oh man. All right. So kind of, I wouldn't say closing the book, but putting a pause on the ongoing searching of justice and fixing of VAR reviews. We have a matchup coming this Thursday. As you guys know, we are in the Europa League, and we're looking to win it. And I think we will win it. But next up on our list of opponents is Union Saint-Gilloise. I'm just guessing on the pronunciation. Please correct me, Dan. Dan probably knows how, or Colin, or even you, Brandon. How do you pronounce it?
You were spot on. The most perfect pronunciation I've ever heard in my life.
French speakers would definitely not be mad.
Yeah.
Definitely
there
not
we go.
at all. Nope.
Paysat family in Paris.
Royal Union Saint-Gilloise.
They're Belgian though, they're not French, but
okay,
very
listen, Belgium's not their own language. Belgians either speak French or German. That's the two sides they speak, or I guess Dutch. But like those two things. Yeah.
But that's our next opponent. A very important team member is on Union Saint-Gilloise, and that would be a star of Supreme Classic, Home Alone, as well as Home Alone 2. Kevin McAllister is on that team, and he's also happens to be the brother of our very own Alexis McAllister. So for the McAllister family, obviously very, very joyous occasion seeing two of your boys competing in the Europa League. And the match will be at Anfield, but heading into the match, obviously, we are dealing with Cody Gakpo's injury that he did take, unfortunately, while scoring his tying goal versus the Spurs on Saturday. So Jay Muse brings up a very, very good point here. Who will exactly replace Gakpo? And then, well, more along the lines Jota on the weekend. For the more immediate, we can probably rely on Darwin, obviously, to start. He wasn't fully fit for Saturday, or else he would have started by reading into Klopp's comments. But for our match on Thursday, I'll go over to you, Colin, first. Do you think we'll see a lot of changes? Last time we played, there were around 10 changes made to the starting line. Do you see the same amount of turnover for the match against Union Saint-Gilloise?
Yeah, sort of has to be. I mean, the games start coming. The games start coming pretty quick. I think it. I mean, obviously, I think actually having Jota and knowing that he will be out for the weekend guarantees him the start on Thursday. Basically, I think it essentially would have. He might have started against Brighton if not. So they'll flip that, and they should be worried. USG should be worried. The Anfield's gonna be hot. That's gonna be a rowdy place to be on a Thursday night. I think that team's going to be very, very motivated, very eager to score as many goals in frustration as humanly possible. And I do not think it's going to matter, how many changes. We could change the entire team, and we may change the entire team front to bottom. And I don't think it's going to matter for them at all.
So you see the match on Thursday not being so much of a competition then, right? You see it more get some minutes on the legs, and we'll square these guys away without much muss or fuss.
Yeah, and I think it's actually disappointing for them that this amount of controversy happened for us. The game before. Ideally, you would want a team to be sort of unsuspecting, and as the underdog, you want to be able to, to try to execute your game plan in the best way possible to try to get a point. I think that entire team is, and we've kind of seen that with some of the social media responses from some of the players, where they're fired up, and I think they're going to be really, really, raring to go, and I probably, I'm thinking 5+ goals. Just my
5+ goals. Yeah. Wow. All right. Confident. Love it. And obviously, the team is going to try to put away that Spurs match behind them. And unfortunately, USG is in our crosshairs at the moment. Brandon, do you see it much the same way? Absolute blowout with no mercy? Or how do you see it playing out on Thursday?
Yeah, I definitely kind of agree with Colin here. I think this is going to be a kind of frightening Liverpool type of attitude heading to this game. I've already got money on I put 3.5 goals just because I knew that's my, definitely hitting that level in terms of my bet. Then I have Darwin getting a hat trick. So I'm raring to go. That's going to win me a couple $100, so no big deal.
Ooh la la.
Yeah, so I see it just being one where Liverpool is from the first minute chasing every single blade of grass when they don't need to against a team they don't have to against, but they're wanting to go out there and just prove a massive point. I think it's I think I saw it in the chat. I saw it on some X or Twitter or whatever. I really feel like that whole thing Saturday is really going to spur this team on to do some really incredible things this season. It really has kind of already rallying together and it's us against the world. We don't give a fuck. Oh, sorry. We're ready to go. Fudge.
No fudge is given.
It's late.
Dan. And in the comment here, the obvious topic is going to be Kevin versus his brother. But now this whole controversy over the weekend, kind of putting a different light in here. Klopp, almost from the onset on Saturday, kind of already started getting our team's mindset switched from, hey, we were royally screwed, to I absolutely love the heart I saw on the pitch, even down to 9 men, the never say die. And that's what I'm taking away from this match. And like Brandon just said, we've been already through it this year. It's 5 matches into the year. We've dealt with multiple red cards. Now, obvious screwing a goal away from us. I don't want to tempt fate, but how much worse can they get after us? So I think it's kind of, it is us against the world, and I think we are primed to kind of just kick butt, unless obviously we keep getting screwed by the refs. But For Thursday, do you see like Brandon and Colin? Do you see a blowout happening? Because I'm again, I'm afraid of thinking that, and then it's 1-0, 2-0 out of nowhere off a couple of set pieces from USG, just because we're all over the place in the beginning.
So I don't want us to get in the mindset of like that it's gonna be a blowout, because I think the instant you start getting the idea of like, oh, we should beat them 4-0, it's like, oh, if we beat them 2-1, you're already setting yourself up for disappointment. I mean, we're 3-1 pool right now, so I wouldn't be surprised if it was 3-1 where we scored one, they knocked one back. It's a little like disjointed, it's a little messy. And then we scored 2 goals, and then we all go home, and we're 6 points clear in the Europa League as well. I think they'll be ready to go. I think Klopp has to kind of like be very smart about this game, because the 2 players that should play are Jones and Jota, because they can't play on Saturday. So all the starters, we're going to have to be those 2 as well. We know Ryan's probably going to start on Saturday, I imagine, either Ryan or Indo. I think we'll figure it out based on this game. So we could see a very similar team to Lask. Yeah, I think we're probably going to see a very similar team to Lask. I don't know if Nunez would start. I wouldn't be surprised if he didn't. And we saw like a Harvey Elliott, Bendo, Diego Jota with Indo, Curtis, and maybe Bajetic or Bobby Clark. I could see Bobby Clark coming in.
I think McAllister starts because his brother's playing on the other side.
I don't know if he risks McAllister, to be quite honest. Like you really shouldn't need to risk McAllister like Soboslai. Like you have to keep with the mindset like you're just gonna need players because Jones is gone for 3 games. Gakpo's out to at least the international break, so he's probably gonna be these next 2 games. Will probably be on the bench afterwards. So I think the next international break is the 22nd, I want to say. I think it's roughly the 22nd or like the 20th is when we go back. And Colin, I think you have your calendar up there. Is that when we start off again, the 22nd October?
The 22nd is a Sunday. So
yeah, so the 21st to 22nd.
After that game weekend.
Yeah. So that would be after when we get back to the international break. No, I don't think we blow them out. I mean, if we do, great. If we just don't, it's not a big deal. Just take the points. It really doesn't matter at this point. Like these Europa League group games should be rotate the team, get game time, win. And it doesn't matter how you win, just win. Like win with 9, win with 10, win with 8 players. Hell, we'll just start with 8 players and just see if we can win with 8. Because we almost won with 9, and we could have won with 10 against Tottenham this game as well. But I think this is the one thing for the Tottenham game, and Klopp mentioned this. We're so back. Like these players, they're so fired up. Nunez was ready to put himself into the game to try to go win it on his own. It's like
if Jota didn't get kicked out, he would have been on and probably would have won.
Oh yeah, we probably would have won 3-1. Like it would have been crazy. Like Nunez another double, maybe even a hat trick. We would have won 4-1, and then people would have been like, "Oh my God, Spurs are in the bin. Spursy's back." In many ways, I think the boys are looking around, and again, like I said, their mentality is, "We're just gonna win. We don't care. We're back." I love when people turn against Liverpool, because it's like you're just going to give them fuel to go win. This is going to make them want to win more. Like it's not going to be like, oh, maybe you're right. Maybe we should put ourselves first and everything else. We will try to win. So yeah, we'll see this one. Sorry guys. Did you guys hear that?
Daniel, are you done with your point?
I'm on the point, Rigo. I apologize.
But yeah, that's again, and this is the kind of the messed up thing. We were on this super great undefeated run. Mohamed Salah was on this super great goal assist streak as well, and both of those got chopped. Not because the other team beat us, but because the officials. So that just pisses me off so much. But at the same time, the level of hard work, camaraderie, and just the vibes off this team just make you think that we're in for something really special this year. And I don't want to turn the page immediately, but in a way we kind of have to, and I just want to see these guys play again and get that sour taste out of my mouth from Saturday, because I know as soon as I watch them play, I'll be happy and joyful again, and reminded of to me, we are the team to beat, and it's going to take a conspiracy and a whole mess of other factors to kind of take us off that perch, in my opinion. But after Thursday's match, we're almost a consensus here. We should make fairly easy work of USG. Comes Brighton. Brighton have kind of been a little up and down. They've had some dominant performances. They've gotten smacked a couple of times as well, but you can fully expect the Zerbi's team to come with it on Sunday, I should say. And we are playing at Brighton, so they will be coming with it on Sunday. We're currently in 4th place. Brighton are currently in 6th place. There's only a 1-point difference between us. Fairly great stylistic matchup. How do you see it playing out, Colin?
So Curtis, Jota, and Gakpo out.
Gakpo.
Yeah, I mean, it should be a great game. Based on some of their low performances, we should get the points. I know that is not how they're going to play. Like, they're not going to play down. Being away is difficult. Missing 3. Curtis has been so good for us. Tifo Football did such a great video on him. I love watching their stuff. If anybody watching hasn't gone and seen that, please do. It's really, really good. Yeah, I mean, we should get the points, and we should go there expecting to get the points. And I think we do. I think we do a good job of, being well prepared and making sure that, that we're in a fight no matter what. But they will not be backing down either. So that one much more contentious, I think.
So definitely a hard matchup. I think they're a tougher opponent than the Spurs are. In my opinion, anyway. I know Spurs are undefeated currently this season, but I do see Brighton at least being on the same level, if not a little bit better than what we faced against the Spurs.
It's
but
like less consistent to me. Like Brighton have been like up and large swings. Like, they look incredible. 2 weeks later, they're like, what did they lose? They lost by 5 this past weekend.
Yep, they got smacked
6-1.
Where was it? 6-1 to Villa. Yeah,
Villa. Like, that's not I don't think indicative of their quality, but then it is their very highest points indicative of their average quality. I'm not sure either. I think they're a little bit.
So that might work. That might work against us because they're gonna be pissed the hell off. They got wiped out by Villa, and we beat Villa 3-0. So
yeah, I think I think we should get the points. I think it should be ours, but I think they're a little bit less than Tottenham, a little bit lesser, but not much. I think they're both good teams.
What about you, Dan? How do you see the weekend playing out with Villa with a point to prove?
I mean, with Brighton in many ways, I think we know how Brighton are gonna play. You've seen the tapes. I think Brighton are there to be got at, especially if Nunez is able to start and play 70, 80 minutes. I mean, I think it'll be a 3-1 or a 3-0. I think that's just our favorite scoreline at the moment. I think Brighton are good enough to make it a 3-3 or a 3-2 or 2-2. But I just think we just have the quality on the ball this year. I don't think we'll be outplayed. We'll be fired up to play at Brighton. Make especially. I think we're at home. I believe we're at home.
Away.
No, it's
we're
away.
at the coast.
It's away.
Mm-hmm.
We're at the coast. So I mean, it might make it a little bit more difficult with the quick turnaround, but I think we'll be okay.
And Brandon, how do you see things playing out on Saturday? We are shorthanded, as mentioned. We are missing 3 key players.
Yeah, but in Soboslai, I trust like my entire existence. No, I think it'll be a good game. Yeah, Brighton should be ready to go because they were I actually got to watch that Brighton Aston Villa game. They were atrocious. They were really bad. I mean, if you just took all you didn't know it was Brighton, this team's definitely going down. That's just how bad they really were. And it was just Ollie Watkins being up top, just basically spearheading things. That's why I think if Darwin's at running at it, ready to go, he could have a really good day against them, or he can really create a lot of things. But the thing was, Villa sat back, soaked up, and just hit rapidly, which we can definitely do with the pace we do have. But, I think Brighton wants to set up a little bit different than how they would set up against Villa when they set up against us, not be so much about, trying to keep the ball 60-65% of the time, more about picking their own chances. So you can't really judge them off the Aston Villa game for what they're going to do with us. So it's intriguing. I'm kind of with Dan. I think it would be kind of a 2-1, maybe 3-1. I mean, obviously it's probably going to be a 3-1 or maybe a 2-0.
Yeah, and very interesting to think Trent should be back by this weekend, if not for Thursday. He's been involved in full team training already. Just kind of looking ahead to Brighton as opposed to a USG. Do you bring him out there against Matoma, first game back after a few weeks off, or do you kind of let Joe Gomez, unsung hero Joe Gomez, it's the Joe Gomez revival project happening this year, or do you keep Joe out there? I'll throw it out to anyone who feels like responding first.
I think we'll have a better idea after Thursday if Trent starts. I think Joe starts the weekend. I think Gomez starts regardless because we have the next international break go up. No reason to throw Trent in there against Matoma. Just put Joe there. We'll just set up and deal with it. Let Trent get 45 to 60 against Union SG.
All right. What about you, Brandon? Do you think Trent will see some action on Sunday, or kind of keep him wrapped up in cotton until we need him after the international break?
I feel like how important Trent is to like our creativity. If like he's like 100% like ready to go, I think you put him in the Brighton game and like being that creative outlet like that he is, and like delivering the ball the way he does. Like, I mean, if we're looking for quick counters, like him putting a ball up over the top for Darwin to go chase or something like that could be very effective for at least the way Brighton looked over the weekend. But I do see definitely the merit of what Dan's saying, like you don't have to like rush him back or like he's got to start. He's got to be ready to go. Gomez has been fantastic so far this year, and I'm happy to see it. Like, I love Joe. He's had his ups and downs, but right now he's in one of those ups, which I wish he could just find that middle ground to be his down instead of his little deeper downs that he ends up having. But like right now he's in the up, so ride the up.
And I know I share a surname with Joe Gomez, so I'm always going to be Team Joe. But we have El Hero here commenting that Joe was caught sleeping for the first goal. But I wouldn't really pin that all on Joe there. But I can see where you're coming from with that one. All right. All right. What about you, Colin? Do you think Trent gets a run out or kind of keep him wrapped up, make sure he's good to go for the long haul here?
I don't think either of the two of them, either Gomez or Trent start, actually. I think they'll do. I think Thursday will be like Tsimikas, Kwanzaa, and whoever the fourth choice center back would be. So either I would guess either. No. So like Thursday. So
okay.
So Thursday they'll do Kwanzaa and whoever the fourth is.
We might get Badge again, maybe.
And then Bajcetic in the right back. So I think that for Saturday, or Sunday rather, I think Gomez will get the start just because of Trent's lack of time, coupled with, I think Brandon made the point, Matoma's pace,
Shiftiness, yeah, a lot, intelligence,
yeah, and truthfully, you just don't want to put him in a bad, like that seems like bad management to me. Like you would be putting him in a bad position after that amount of time out. Plus, the higher likelihood that he would have like longer sprints to do, like higher likelihood of re-injuring musculature. So like, it's like give him 35 minutes against USG on Thursday if he's feeling up to it, and then we'll see how the game goes. Then Sunday, play him. Then I think Gomez has been playing really, really well. No reason to risk further and long-term injury. Like we've got enough of those. Like Thiago has been out since February.
Last year.
February. Like it's fine. Like it's fine. He doesn't need to come back right this moment.
All right. Absolutely. So just to recap today's episode of Stars, Stripes, and Anfield Nights, we had a grieving out session with the VAR audio being released today. Obviously, letting out our emotions, feelings, and thoughts on the absolute atrocity that occurred on Saturday, as well as the current state of officiating in the Premier League. Did a quick review or preview, I should say, of our match against Union Saint-Gilloise, and looking ahead to a Brighton match as well. A lot happening. It feels like the season's already 6 months long, and we're only 2 months into it. Just because, again, all the cards that have happened, the matches that have gone on, and all the storylines occurring. But nothing better than to follow Liverpool, and our team, I feel, is poised for great things. Klopp's is re-energized. I think he's going to end up signing an extension and let him sign the lifetime extension for all I care. Until he's done coaching, let him keep coaching us. But very positive things to take out of this. So yeah, looking forward to Thursday as well as Sunday and supporting the boys. Before we wrap it up today, I want to ask everyone, please make sure to hit that like button, and if you haven't already, hit that subscribe button, and it helps us out so much. The comments also are absolutely lovely. I love seeing the comments when they pop in. I'll reply back to you, right back to you under my name, Rigo at QF2G. Make sure to like and follow as well our Twitter accounts, or in Brandon's case, his Spotify account as well, Monster8 the Pilot. But for myself, Rigo, as well as Dan, Colin, and Brandon, we want to thank you all for joining today. Wish you all a good night, and you'll never walk alone.